While digital finance has been positioned as a key solution to economically empower women, the gender gap in fintech usage is 27.6%, much higher, in fact, 3 times higher than access to a formal account. In 2020, we did our first piece of research into fintechs in the female economy, a sample that included 168 fintechs and 30 investors, which found that fintechs are, for the most part, unaware of women's distinct needs when it comes to financial experiences, while most investors have not integrated a gender lens into their investment thesis. The typical pathway for fintechs is to focus on early stage adopters so that they can grow their user base as quickly as possible and capture investor interest. Because men are perceived to be early technology adopters, whether this is supported by data or not, fintechs often begin to tailor their products to men. While by the time most fintechs are well funded, unless they have intentionally begun to focus on the women's market, they are well on their way to being caught in a self-fulfilling spiral of catering primarily to male users. Earlier today, we published a follow-up piece of research that quantified the money left on the table by not getting gender parity in the conversion rates across the fintech sales funnels. The fixes are not hard, and the report shares many use cases that demonstrate that by disaggregating KPIs at all stages of the sales funnel and asking why gender disparities exist, design can be modified. And as a result, more women end up as customers. We also found that most fintech investors are still at an early stage in developing a gender lens investment thesis. Some are looking at gender balance in founding or leadership teams, and very few are looking at gender balance of potential investees' customer bases. With this in mind, we've organized this Gender Intelligent Investor Forum, which brings together top investors across the world to share their gender lens investment criteria with fintechs eager to get funding. We'll be looking at the 2 sides of the gender equation, balance in leadership teams and balance in customer bases. As this session is short, we encourage you to connect with one another through Jublia, our networking platform for the summit, to which you all have access and which will be open for the next 4 weeks. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Shelly Porges, co-founder and managing partner of the $1 Billion Fund for Women, a global consortium of venture funds pledged to invest in female-founded firms and beyond the billion, mobilizing LP investors into TBDF funds. Shelly will share a preview of their soon-to-be-released Global Impact Report, including research on investors that invest in female-founded firms. Over to you, Shelly. Thank you.
Wonderful, Inez. Thank you so much for that intro, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where in the world you are. I'm so excited to be with you today as part of the Financial Alliance for Women's FinTech Forum. My co-founder of the $1 Billion Fund for Women and of Beyond the Billion, Sarah Chen, and I are proud to tell you, not only to tell you our story, but of course to be with you here to talk about fintechs and what we've learned from our experience. And why today we're excited about fintechs. People often ask us, first and foremost, how did we do it? How did we mobilize over $1 billion in under 9 months from a truly global consortium of venture funds? And the simple answer derives from an African proverb that perhaps you're familiar with. It says that if you're looking to go fast, go alone. But if you're looking to go far, go together. Well, our motto, inspired by this, is if you want to go fast and far, go with women. But before I do share with you our research and our learnings, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the women and some men who have made our journey possible with their support. First and foremost, we want to thank Ann Cairns, who's not only the chair of the Financial Alliance for Women, but is also the global vice chair at MasterCard, for being such a great champion of our work. Thanks to Anna Snyder, Bank of America, to Susan Penfield at Booz Allen Hamilton, to Winji Sampaio, Mercedes Abramo, Cartier, to Alexander Poet, Hughes Hubbard, to Tara Junta, Paul Hastings, and to Marise Brown at JP Morgan, and to so many more. As you can see, it takes a village. And as I'll be sharing with you soon, that is part of the learning here. And of course, the man that we want to acknowledge is the amazing Olin Douglas at Motley Fool Ventures. In 2018, we set out to address the 2.2% gender venture funding gap, mobilizing over $1 billion in VC pledges in under 9 months by inspiring VC funds around the world to pledge to invest more, $1 billion more into women-founded companies. On October 28th, as Ines said, we'll be publishing our first billion global impact report. And today we're here to share a sneak peek and some of what we've learned about women-led fintechs and more. Let's start with some data. The number of female founders in fintechs globally remains low, at 7%, according to Deloitte, though this number is growing faster for women than for men. A detailed analysis of funding for women-founded fintechs shows growth there too, but the net is still that fintech's funding share is on par with that of other industries. That is, that only 2 to 3% of fintechs of total VC funding goes to women-founded companies and women-founded fintechs. So fintechs are doing no better and apparently no worse than the rest of the industry, but that's not good enough. We know that. Notably, a comparison of average funding over the last 5 years revealed that women-founded fintech startups raised 50% less capital than startups founded only by men. What we're talking about here is even women who did succeed in raising capital through venture funds only on average got 50% less than on average men did. Importantly, founding teams with both men and women, that is gender diverse teams, however, average just 3% less funding. So for some insights as to what might be going on there, think about that. For our part, we're delighted to report that of the 8 female-founded unicorns in the portfolios of our VC partners, 2, or 25%, are female co-founded, Airwallex and WeLab. Notably, they were not founded by women only, and also notably, the VCs who invested in them were men. Beyond that, we've learned some other lessons from our partner funds and their successful female founders. Lesson number 1 is about the collective power of our capital. By inviting scores of venture funds globally to consider who they were investing in and how they were investing, we mobilized over 100 funds pledged to invest in women-founded companies. Some of these VCs, like the 2 you'll be hearing from on the next panel, were already committed to this opportunity, but the majority had at most a very small percentage of their funds designated for companies founded or co-founded by women. Some had none, thus the dismal 2.2% of all VC funding going to women. With our pledge, many were inspired to step up their commitment, and some even changed their processes to ensure success. $1 billion plus fund hired a woman who successfully exited her company to their portfolio manager for their effort, because women VCs we know are known to over-index to female founders. So when looking for funding, make sure there's a woman on the investment committee making the decision. That $1 billion plus fund in a mere 2 years fulfilled almost their entire $50 million pledge to be invested into women-founded companies, including both the women-founded fintechs mentioned earlier. Another put in place a new procedure that women-founded companies skip the line to get to the firm's senior partners on the investment committee to ensure that they get full consideration. They too founded new opportunities they had been missing previously. Additionally, as we promoted the fact that when asked, there were many VCs funds willing to make such a commitment to invest more in women, we were also able to mobilize institutional investors to realize the value and opportunity they had been missing by not investing in funds that invest in women. As one of our male VCs in Canada said, let's face it, women are the most undervalued asset in the world and the greatest arbitrage opportunity for returns for any investor. So as part of Beyond the Billion, we use this collective power of our capital as represented by our consortium of funds to connect with some of the largest foundations, including Rockefeller, Ford, and Kresge, to public pension funds like the Dallas Public Employees Retirement Fund, and in Canada, CDPQ and Ontario Teachers Pension Fund, and to major financial institutions like Credit Suisse and Bank of America to discuss how these investors can re-examine their processes to invest in the funds that invest in women. For lessons 2, 3, and 4, I see I'm running out of time, and we'll have to share that on another occasion. All of our research and review of our last 3 years has shown that the original model is more relevant than ever. That is, when you invest in women, you're in good company. Please join us for the next number of years of growth and impact. We look forward to connecting with you soon.